Welcome to Nugg Talk.
Nugg life is internal, Philip. It sucks. I hate my life.
I'm so sad.
Hello, everyone. It's a sad time for everything.
I'm so sad, bro.
But welcome to Nugg Life. This is a very depressing podcast. We come to you once a week to give you NBA news, and we give you terrible news this week for Nuggets news as well. All right. Well, let's just get it out of the way. Jamal got hurt. He tore his ACL in the Golden State game. Came in back from injury. His first game back after resting, 3 or 4 games. Came in, tried to lead a comeback towards the end. Went to the lane. No one touched him. His left knee buckled. Not the knee that was injured, by the way. The
Which
previous
is
one.
so unfortunate.
Which is so unfortunate. His left knee buckled. He ended up tearing his ACL. And now he is out for the season and the presumable future. Initial thoughts from you, and then we'll dive in deeper into this.
Pain.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sucks. It sucks. We don't have to talk about our thoughts. Everybody knows what this means. So
Yeah, it's really bad. First off, we'll say, Jamal, we wish you the best. We know you'll come back stronger. You're going to put in the work to, be better than you were before you got hurt. We believe in him.
We do.
And we know that he is already working on his rehab because PJ said after the last game he played that he was in the locker room with the guys. He's already rehabbing. So that's good that he's already working on it. He hasn't really let this hurt him mentally, it seems. So that's good. Initial thoughts for me. We have 2 years that are wasted now, this year and next year, because projected timeline is the earliest he could be back is next March. That's the earliest.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely April. And even when he comes back, he's most likely going to be coming off the bench because I doubt we're going to just immediately be like, hey,
Go play 40.
go play 40, and especially in playoff time. And I feel like we're going to be very safe with that knee when he comes back. So, super unfortunate. Definitely the second worst thing that probably could have happened in this franchise, only behind, obviously, if it happened to Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think this has done for the short-term future? Like we talked about these next 2 years.
I mean, we're probably not going to win the finals. We're probably not going to make the finals. And depending on who we play this year, we're going to have an early exit, and we're probably playing the Lakers. We're probably going to lose in the first round. Next year, I won't make any sort of predictions on next year because that's so much. There's so much is going to happen. So we'll see how we look and how the rest of the NBA looks and etc.
Yeah, that's fair. This year, I definitely say, wasted year. It's gone. The best thing we have to look forward to is Jokic. Looks like he's going to win the MVP. Mm-hmm. Right now, he's the favorite, even from ESPN voters. So it doesn't look like we have to worry about that. So at least there's something to, be happy about as a Nuggets fan at the end of the year. But yeah, we'll probably make the playoffs. Right now, it definitely looks like we're on a trajectory to play the Lakers. Either way, I think we'll probably lose in the first round just because I think Jamal meant so much to this team. And I don't think MPJ is ready yet to take that second step, especially in the playoffs when they start focusing in on him defensively like that.
Let's hope he does.
I mean, it'll be good. But that is definitely the silver lining of this short 2-year stint, I guess, or year stint. That MPJ now is going to grow a lot from this. He's going to gain a lot more experience than he probably should have or needed to. He literally went from being the 4th option to the 2nd option in a year, which is insane. But hey, I mean, he was asking for more shots, and it keeps coming to him. So there we go. We'll see how he does. He has done an exceptional job from going from the 4th option to the 3rd option. I assume the same will happen for him going to the 3rd to the 2nd. It's just going to be tough initially in the playoffs. So we'll see how it goes, especially depending also on matchup. It really depends on that as well. But other issue with the short-term future is the Aaron Gordon trade became null. Basically, doesn't do anything to help us because we're not going to see what the starting 5 could do fully in a playoff series. We might see it a little bit next year, but again, Jamal initially will probably be coming off the bench to start. And then he's up for an extension. He probably won't sign it now. I think there's no chance that he signs it now. He might have if we made the Western Conference Finals or Finals. He might have just been like, yeah, I'll stay. But now it seems like he'll probably test the free agency market next year. So what do you think is going to go on with Aaron Gordon in 2 years? Do you think he's gone? Do you think there's even a chance he stays?
Nugg Life says he leaves, but I'll never say never, I hope he stays. It would be really cool if he did. He would be a really good fit at the 4 now and going forward. That being said, if he does leave, it's not going to kill us.
True. Yeah, I mean, it's just it just kind of sucks because it was a really good trade. It was a great trade. It was working out well, and now we're not even going to get to see it in its full fruition, which is kind of sad. But again, you never know. Odds of being a Nugget fan just tells us that he's going to leave. We already saw what happened with so many of our old free agents and just Jeremy recently in the same position. Odds is he might leave. I mean, he was interested in Boston, but who knows? Maybe Conley, if he knows that there's a chance that he might not even come back. Maybe Aaron Gordon's in trade talks again next year too. That might be a possibility depending on how the year goes out. That's also another thing up in the air. So there's a lot that basically our future was kind of set and now it's all up in the air. And I think that's the most frustrating part for all of Nuggets fans, is that it looked like we were on a trajectory to win a championship and be one of those, teams who compete every year, and now it's just kind of up in there. I mean, it's still possible. It's not all bad side. One positive you mentioned is Jamal's still young.
Yep.
He can still bounce back from this, and ACL injuries aren't as bad as they used to be. And the third thing is I think ACL injuries, if you're going to be good or not, depends on your mental state. I think this kid has the best mental state of anyone on the team.
He does. He is a dog.
And I think he'll come back and he'll be fine. I don't think he'll come back scared of going into the lane or planting on the knee and stuff like that. I think he mentally can handle it.
He's kind of got that Mamba mentality. So
yeah, I think he'll be fine in that sense. I also think that his game's not really organized around being super athletic. He's still an athletic person, but it's not like Derrick Rose where it was pure athleticism. You get a knee injury, it's obviously going to hinder you, especially if mentally you're scared of going into the lane. So I think he'll be fine in that sense. But again, we'll see. And then we already talked about the bright side of MPJ because it will help him for sure, and the bright side of Jokic getting an MVP. But long-term future, what do you see happening for this team? Let's say best case scenario, realistic, and worst case.
Okay, best case scenario, Jamal Murray comes back in May of 2021, and we win the NBA Finals this season.
March?
No, I was making a joke.
Oh.
Okay, so real best case scenario is Jamal comes back in March, and he gets some run, and if we make a deep playoff run, he can be put into the starting lineup in the second or Western Conference Finals. Yeah. Realistic scenario is that never happens, and we is that he comes back in April and we just don't have his he's just not ready yet, and he'll play but he won't be a main contributor. Worst case scenario, I don't want to say. So
okay, that's fair. I mean, definitely, I think it's just long-term scenario. Best case is he comes back, he's the same, everything's the same, and if anything, MPJ just got better from this. That is best case scenario any Nuggets fan could wish for, is that Jamal comes back and it doesn't look like he's worse at all. If anything, he has kind of a Zach LaVine recovery. Zach LaVine tore his ACL, and we all know ever since he's done that, he's gotten better. He's turned into an all-star. He's handled it fine. That's what you can wish for Jamal. And then you wish MPJ just develops into that second option, because I think MPJ will eventually become the second option. If this just fast-tracks that, then that's great. And then realistic scenario is he comes back. He's obviously not the same player that he was, but he's not a scrub, or he's not, a waste of cap space, or, is not a person that we have to get rid of and not part of the long-term future. He's still valuable to the team. He's just not as valuable as what we all know he could have been, but he's enough to get us over the hump. that's probably the more realistic situation.
That feels like worst case scenario to me.
I mean, worst case scenario is he's not good anymore.
Yeah.
That's the worst case. Realistic, like in the sense that, like, I don't mean he's going to be like super bad. I just mean like he's not going to be like this Jamal, you know? Like he'll still be a good player. He'll still be a top player in the league. But this Jamal was really, really good, even though he had his inconsistencies and he was on a trajectory up. Hopefully this doesn't send him back, but I just feel like you never know. Realistic. It's all on him, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's all on him. And
I believe in him.
I believe in him too. I think best case scenario is definitely possible. I think my biggest issue and why I get pessimistic and I have issues is, it's really crazy because it was 8 years to the day of Gallinari's ACL injury. And I know Gallinari's nowhere on the level of what Jamal was, but it's just kind of weird because we also had hopes then.
Mm-hmm.
Gallinari looked like he was going to be an all-star player. That happened. He was never the same, really. And then this happens to Jamal, and it's way worse because Jamal, like, he was part of the big three. He's part of the future. It's just scary that now what looked like for sure at least we'd be competing in the finals in the next 2 or 3 years is up in the air, and it's all based on this one man's knee.
Yeah.
So it's just unfortunate. But we all wish the best for everything to happen. Just have your prayers out with Jamal or whatever you do to give best wishes to Jamal. Just be with him. We know he's a dog, like Phil said, and we know he will come back better than ever, and he will be fine with this. But on the other side of things, for his injury, who do you blame? Do you blame the NBA? You blame Malone? You blame no one? It's just a freak thing.
I mean, I mainly blame no one. That's that's logical. But at the same time, who's to say that this would have happened in a normal season? Probably it could have still. Obviously, it happens. But like the major season-ending injuries are clearly like a corresponding to so many games and so many nights and shortened season trying to squeeze it in.
Yeah, no, it is.
And so, like, if I'm going to blame anybody, I will blame Adam Silver. I won't blame Malone. Like, you don't just not play your guys, you know? And they could have won that game.
Yeah. I definitely don't blame Malone. I think a lot of Nuggets fans were very harsh to Malone on the night of because they were like, why would he not put him on a minute restriction? Why did he put him back in the game? We were going to lose anyways. All this stuff. First off, to the minute restriction, everyone said he was fine. Like, he was fine. He didn't need to be on minute restriction. He said he was fine. The trainers and athletic staff said he was fine. It seemed like he was fine. Now, granted, he did tweak it in the game. Like, he retweaked his knee, the other knee, it seemed like, in the game prior to the left knee injury. And then that comes up to the second point, this is why I say we need to be less hard on Malone, is, yes, should Jamal have not been in that game? Yeah, I probably would think hindsight. You obviously are like, yeah, he shouldn't have. But do you think that Jamal is just going to not play if he can play?
He wanted to go in there.
Yeah, he wanted to go in there. He wanted to be in there. You think he's just not going to play just because Malone says no? Like, no, he wanted to be in there. There was a chance to win in his mind, and he wanted to compete. To not do that is a loser's mentality, and Jamal doesn't have that, so he wasn't going to do it. So I don't want to blame this on Malone. It's not his fault. Kind of a freak thing, but I will agree with you that I definitely blame at least part of it to the shortened season. Jamal was never able to get the proper training and rest he needed in the summer. Came into the year injured. I'm sure that didn't help the pressure on his knees and all this stuff. And then throughout the season, it was impossible for him to get any time to rest. It was impossible for him to get any time to, do treatments and stuff like this. And also, just in general, not even just into Jamal's case, but literally anyone's case. The NBA, even though they want to say that NBA injuries are on a decline this year because they're just incorporating all injuries, all the serious injuries are definitely on the incline. There's a lot more ACL tears, a lot more MCL tears, a lot more season-ending injuries this year, and they're trying to avoid that. And it definitely was because of the compact schedule. So I do blame Adam Silver because we just lost a star that would have helped them in the playoffs to not only gain views and things like that, but, it would have just been better for them. Because, like, it's not just Nuggets fans that love Jamal. It's a lot of Canadians. Canadians love Jamal, and they were very sad to see him go down, and they love to support us during the playoffs. So I definitely blame the NBA for the shortened season. It's not entirely their fault. It's a freak thing. It happens. Something that happened to Jamal.
Clearly a correlation also.
But there's definitely a correlation because I blame him more on the fact he never got the proper chance to come into the season healthy. We have no clue how much him trying to battle through those injuries early on in the year put a lot of stress probably on his knee or things along those lines to maybe eventually just make it to a point where it cracked. Like, it just was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating for sure.
His body probably didn't get, I mean, like, just like with every exercise, like his body didn't really get a chance to bounce back as much.
Yeah, it definitely did. He never got a chance to get ready, which sucks. But it is what it is. We wish the best for all the situations. We will still support, even though it's very sad to watch games without Jamal. And we'll see what happens. We just have to hope for the best. But we will talk about our games now. We went 3-2. Would have been bad if Jamal was healthy, but considering the circumstances, I guess it's good. I don't really think it matters anymore, at least not in my opinion. I think this is, like I said early on in the year before the Aaron Gordon trade, this has now become officially a throwaway year where it's just for Jokic to get MVP. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But what did you think of their performance other than, I guess, what do you think of their performance lately in these last two games since Jamal's been out?
I mean, they looked good. They dominated, but they played two teams that they're better than, even without Jamal. So, yeah. It'll be interesting to see once we play a really good team to see how this team reacts to playing a good team instead of playing the Rockets like we did today, which is basically like two All-Stars or former All-Star. Well, one former All-Star, one who could have been an All-Star guy, and then a bunch of G Leaguers, and then who do we play? Miami, who was just a shell of themselves and did not come out to show out. So we'll see how it goes, but at least, they're all playing to win for him, and I hope they win as many games as they can for him, but we'll just see kind of how the season goes and how it shapes out. We will talk about the upcoming schedule and our games coming up. The first one coming up is against Memphis on Monday. How do you see that game going at home against Memphis? Probably a win. We still have Jokic, and that team's not that good, so we should win that game.
Yeah, I definitely say a win. I think they're still without Jaren Jackson Jr., if I'm correct.
Yeah. I
think they're without Brandon Clark, maybe, as of late. And that team just, I feel like even though, JV and Jokic usually have good battles, I think we're still better than that team. We're still more talented than that team just because, we have the MVP on our team. So I think that should be a win. Now, will it be an easy win? No, I bet it'll probably be close, but I think win for that one.
Yeah.
And then we go and we play Portland at Portland on Wednesday. How do you see this game going against possibly a playoff matchup? Most likely not, but possibly if we go up to 3 at some point.
This is where I'm going to say we're going to lose because we don't have Jamal.
Yeah.
Because, they need, we need someone like Jamal to kind of match up with Dame and make Dame play defense.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it will be a loss for that reason. Definitely not having Jamal doesn't help out, and not having someone to match Damian or CJ, whichever one pops off. Damian's been colder as of late than CJ, but it's just they just flip back and forth. That definitely hurts. I also think that after watching that Warrior game, and I know Steph Curry is on an insane run right now with points and how he's scoring and everything he's doing, but we had no answer to stop him. It was one of my biggest concerns when we traded Gary, who would be our perimeter guard defender. Facu actually did pretty well on Steph, so maybe Facu can do well on Dave and CJ, but we'll see. That's something that makes me definitely think we'll lose this game, just because they have two good guards who can score, and we don't really have two guys who can defend. Facu can guard both of them, so we'll see. I think it will be a loss, though. It's unfortunate, but Jamal makes a lot of these more likely to be losses. And then our next game is that Friday at Golden State, where the crime occurred. They're back too soon. How do you see this game going?
We're going to probably lose because Steph's going to pop off.
Yeah. I think Steph's going to have 50 again.
Yeah, I'm going to say lose.
Yeah, I'll say lose. I'll flip it this time. You know how last time I said we'll lose if Steph gets 50 and then you got 50. I'll say the only way we win is if Jokic gets 50.
Okay.
Other than that, we're losing this game. Because, Steph is just on another planet right now, so it is impossible to even try to compete with him. And then the last game we'll talk about is the second of that back-to-back. We come back home and we play Houston again. Very similar teams to the last games we just picked. I would still say win against Houston at home. I'm assuming you would still say win against Houston at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just not, they can't compete with us. Like, they're so bad. It's kind of insane. And they're trying to get, obviously, a number one pick and tank for their picks. So it is what it is. But, yeah, so we had us going 2-2,
Yes.
which would basically just keep confirming we're playing the Lakers in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun. But, yeah, overall, very sad week.
Pain.
Yeah, it is very pain. But, hey, don't be like me. Don't be a jaded Nuggets fan. Be optimistic, because I'm not at a good spot right now. So,
I'm trying to be, but it's tough.
yeah, everyone be more optimistic than me. Think that Jamal's going to be back and he's going to be the best that he's ever been, because I want to believe that, but I've had so much pain in my life as a Nuggets fan. It's hard. It hurts.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. But everyone be better than I. But yeah, that's all we're going to do this week. It's
pain.
It's a short episode this week. We had to really drudge out to do this one. But we hope you guys enjoyed. We hope you guys aren't as sad as us, even though we know everyone's sad. And yeah, if you like the podcast, make sure to tell a friend, subscribe, view us on all podcasting platforms, leave a like, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week, hopefully in a better mood.
Go Nuggets, but also pain.
Pain.